In today's video, you will learn a better than drop-down shadow effect in Photoshop using a simple technique that creates a much more realistic and professional looking shadow for your text. This method gives you more control over the shape, direction, and softness of the shadow, so it feels more natural compared to a regular drop shadow effect. Start by typing your word on the canvas using any bold font you like. In this example, the integral bold font is being used because thick letters help the shadow stand out more clearly and make the effect easier to notice. Once your text is ready, right-click on the text layer and choose Convert to Smart Object. This is important because it allows you to apply filters non-destructively, which means you can always come back later and make changes without losing quality. After converting the text into a smart object, press Ctrl and J on your keyboard to duplicate the layer. You should now have two copies of the text. Select the lower layer because this will become the shadow layer underneath the original text. Next, open the Layer Style options and choose Color Overlay. Change the color to black and press OK. This turns the duplicated text into a solid black shade that will act as the base of the shadow. At this point, the effect still looks flat, but the next steps will make it much more realistic. Now go to Filter, then Blur Gallery, and choose Path Blur. Inside the settings, make sure Center Blur is enabled. This is where the magic happens because Path Blur allows you to stretch and soften the shadow naturally instead of using a standard Photoshop shadow effect. Follow the same process shown on screen by adjusting the blur direction and shape carefully. You can drag the handles and control points to create a more dynamic shadow depending on the lighting style you want. Try experimenting with the angle and distance until the shadow looks believable. Softer shadows usually create a cleaner and more realistic result, while stronger blur can give a dramatic look. Take your time here because small adjustments can completely change the final appearance. Continue refining the shadow until it feels smooth and natural behind the text. Once you are happy with the result, press OK to apply the effect. And that is how you can create a realistic shadow effect in Photoshop that looks much better than the standard drop shadow tool. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial and found it useful.